you want to press the button, the middle one?
This one?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're good?
Yeah. We're good. I mean, so sometimes the cameras are kind of away from each other, and I want them to be together. So, kind of like, so we kind of face the same direction.
Oh, that makes sense.
So, even, yeah, put one higher maybe. It's kind of what I do with Shai.
Sounds good.
All right. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to our live session.
Yeah, hi.
Today I have Dr. Jaime Gregoza. He's a career coach, Rainbow Career Coaching.
Mm-hmm.
And today I want us to talk about getting the job.
Mm-hmm.
Getting the job. The job market kind of sucks.
A lot right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think people who don't have a career coach, people who don't know what they're doing, they will not get ahead.
No, it's very difficult, especially people try to do everything that you're taught as, in high school and college, but the old techniques are no longer useful. Like
Yeah.
you can't just go in, give a resume to someone and expect to get a job right away.
Yeah.
You
yeah.
have to do different things, be a little bit more innovative.
Yeah, I think there's it's kind of like if you want to be a farmer, right? There's work that you have to do ahead. So the moment you get into the job, like, hey, now I'm going to the job, it's like I've done all this work, and a lot of it, has to do with even learning, like a lot of inner, like developing your inner self. Would you say that?
Oh yeah, definitely. It has to be with mindset because if you're going in there, like I'm just gonna take any job that I want, like you're gonna end up getting somewhere where you might get burned out, you might not be treated the right way, you may not have the right values. And the thing is that whenever you're going into a job, not only are they interviewing you, but you're interviewing them back.
Yes.
You have to make sure that they're a right fit for you.
Yeah. So what are the questions that somebody can have about a company so that they can know whether is this the company, like place that I want to go into? Like what are the kind of questions that a job seeker has to have in their mind?
I would say number one, what is the company culture? So what time, like when everybody comes in, what is a day in the life that you would expect in that company?
Okay.
So if I clock in, what are the tasks that I would be doing? What's my everyday gonna look like? Is it organized? Is it disorganized? A lot of companies will say, well, it changes day by day. It really doesn't. Normally you do the same thing every single time. You may be working on, that's okay. You may be working on different projects, but the variation doesn't really change, like checking your emails, going on meetings, taking your lunch breaks and asking, like, what is the culture? Do people actually take their lunch breaks on time?
Yeah.
Do you encourage and remind your staff to take breaks? At the end of the day, what does that look like? Do you close your laptop and go home, or do you expect people to take their work home?
Yeah, so there is like an operational rhythm. And you want to get to know what's the operational rhythm in this company before you even get there. So you're talking about like how many meetings do you have in a day? Do you have one in the morning, one in the evening, stuff like that? When do you guys go out for lunch? Do you just get out and go for lunch, or what you want to know, what will I be doing? What am I up for? And then is that a good way to assess like the stress level of a company like you're going to get into?
Oh yeah, definitely. And getting to know those things, like asking like, what are things that you like about your job and what are things that you don't like about your job? Like asking them that, because based on those answers, like the most red flag that you should kind of look for is like, oh, we're all family here. We all love each other. No, no. That's a very generic like cop out answer. It's like, no, what is the real dynamic? Like, why did they? Like another question is like, why are you hiring right now? Is this because of an expansion, or did the person leave? What was the reason the person left?
Yeah, those are good. Let me reiterate what he's saying, Yeah, good to ask them, like, why are you hiring me for? Like, why am I even here?
Exactly.
Oh, wow. Yeah, wow. Those are very eye-opening questions. Like, questions that I actually never thought I'd ask. So let me see. I see like there are people here. Let me see what they're saying. Sal says hi. Ye says hello there. And Sid says hi too. you say like you're an officer, and then here we have Kaireyu just joined, and Fat Croissant just joined.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining the live.
Welcome for joining the live stream. We are talking to career coach, top career coach in Orange County, Dr. Jaime Gregoza. He is the founder of the Rainbow Career Coaching. 2024, we want everybody in our circles to get jobs that they want. You deserve to find the job that you want. And right now, we were just talking about like top questions that you should have in mind when you go into an interview, because you're interviewing them as much as they are interviewing you. You're also assessing whether this is the kind of like environment that I even want to work with, right? And so let's go on and talk about like and I'm taking notes here for you guys, because these are top notes. These are top notes for anybody looking for a job. 2024, we want you to be at the top. You just cannot go into a job and have no questions.
No, you have to be ready. You have to be prepared. You have to do your research.
Yeah, and you ask them like, why am I here? Like, why are you guys hiring at this time? You know, why is that question important?
Because it kind of tells you if the employer is going to talk bad about the employee, that should tell you already how they're going to treat you. It's kind of like a good insight. If the person says, oh, they sought other opportunities, then that might have been that the workload is a little bit too stressful. They were undervalued, underappreciated, so they had to seek somewhere else. If that person got promoted internally, that shows that they do care about their employees, they care about internal growth, and that may be you in the future.
So you hear that? I didn't even think about like thinking it that way, that somebody left that job for other opportunities. It means that, you know, this company is not retaining its employees. And when there's low retention, what does that should tell you about the company culture?
Yeah, usually it's something's wrong with the company culture. There's a dissonance. If employees are not happy that they're like wanting to leave, then that shows you that, wow, like there's something in there, whether it might be lack of appreciation, miscommunication, toxic leadership. Something is in there. You might not know the exact thing, but it should be like a flag that you're looking into off the get-go.
Yeah, what are the things, what are the questions that do you think that an employee can do to assess whether like this company will be a place where I get burned out? What kind of a question can they ask, like leading questions to make?
Yeah, so how do you train your staff? Do you give them like appropriate expectations? Like what would my training look like? What are my expectations within the first 3 months, 6 months of me being in this position? How fast do you want me to do things? And if they tell you from the get-go like, oh, one of the common answers of a bad workplace is, oh, we don't do training, you kind of learn as you go. That is red flag, no.
Learn as you go. Yeah, ask them like, how do you train your staff so that, especially if you're starting out from college, everywhere, like if they're not willing to put time and effort and invest into your training, maybe you shouldn't be there.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Maybe you should go with a company that actually is dedicated for your career success. And that's how you know, like, these guys, if they're not investing in you and your training and development, it means that they really don't value you as an employee.
Exactly. They see you as a number, as a statistic, and they care more about their revenue than they actually care about the wellness of their employees.
How do you train your staff? How do you train your staff? That is, wow. See, sometimes I used to go to interviews and they ask me, like, do you have any questions for us? And I have zero. Zero questions. Like, I'm like, they talked about the job. I know what I'm going to do. And then I'm like, as long as I know what to do, like, what else do I need to know? They're paying me. They say they have a paycheck.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm like, that's how, and sometimes you get offered like 2 jobs, right? And if you ask the right questions, then you know which job that actually you go into, right? Wow, okay. So
even if you didn't ask all these questions in the interview, let's say that you got really nervous and you're like, oh shit, you know, like, I got an offer and I don't know if this is the job for me. Before you accept the offer, ask the questions right then and there. like, hey, I know I failed to ask this during the question, so before I accept this offer, thank you so much. I do want to know a little bit more about the company to make sure it's a right fit for me.
Oh wow! So once they give you the job, like they're like, "Oh, Jaime, you got the job." That's when you kind of start asking them like those other questions that you
A little bit
probably
more deep.
a little bit more deep about the position. And can you negotiate the salary right there?
Always, always. So, fun statistic: 70% of people in the United States do
Yeah.
not negotiate their pay, but 30% who do, almost 95% get the negotiated pay. So it's a very big negotiation skill. And the thing is that a lot of people, well, you have to know, and I've been in hiring, I've been an HR manager, I've been a program director, I've been in chief of program operations. So I know how the system works. They usually put you at the bottom rate of the starting pay of the budget. But the budget typically expands a lot further than that. So, and it can be
guys.
from a couple dollars to a couple $1,000s. So always negotiate something and always go higher than what you want. So let's say that you want to make 65,000,
Okay.
bare minimum, right?
Yeah.
Ask for 75, because then they'll be like, you know what, 75 is out of our budget, but we can give you 70 instead.
Wow.
So your baseline was still 65, so you're still above what you wanted, but you met in the middle
Yeah.
of what you wanted and got even higher.
Guys, we're talking about salary negotiation here. And Dr. Jaime is telling us that 90% of people who negotiate their salary will get that salary. They will get that salary. So, I mean, if you're watching this should tell you there is no way you should ever accept the first offer.
No.
Like, go at least 10 grand above. And then if they want to split it in the middle, you know, and for me, I just look at like, hey, my expenses are this. So like if your expenses go at 65K, then, you know, like you need 75K just in case of emergencies and stuff like that. So you can even go 78, right? And then if they split it in the middle, you know, you're getting 66, 67, and you're like, okay, fine. But no way you would go below your
Baseline.
your baseline, what you need. Salary negotiation, that's a huge one.
And that's a lot of reasons why people leave their jobs in the first place, because an employer is more likely to give a higher pay to a new incoming person because they negotiated than a person that's been there forever. Because then once you're in there, their only obligation is they don't have to give you any raises, but just to keep you content, it's usually 2 to 5% a year increase, which is nothing compared. Like you're not going to get a 10 grand increase like out of nowhere, but you can get that 10 increase if you go somewhere else, maybe doing the same thing, and then just negotiate your pay at a higher rate because you already have the experience.
That is brutal. That is brutal. Like if you're there, if you accept a low paying salary, the only way you get up is by job hopping. And it's expensive. And in this kind of economy, you don't want to get to the point where you're kind of like job hopping because of salary negotiations going wrong. Right? So you want to negotiate immediately before you get the job. Guess what? Most likely 90% of the time you're going to get the salary. Why not set up yourself for success?
I'm going to give you an example. So I had a client who was in case management, had no only experience in case management. She had a background in criminal justice, and she always wanted to be a paralegal. And this specific organization had an entry-level paralegal where they'll pay for your education and then they'll get you started, right? So she applied. I helped her do her resume, her cover letter, trained her for the interview. She got the job. They only offered her 55. However, at her current job, she was making 50. So she's like, it's a 5 grand increase. I'll take it. And I was like, no, reject the offer. She's like, what do you mean? No, this is like, I'm already getting 5,000 more. Like, no, you're insane. I was like, reject the offer. Call them back. Tell them like, thank you so much. However, I've done my market research. I won't take anything less than like 75. And unfortunately, like this is a competitive rate based on the county and based on where we're at. And this is like what I'm willing to do. The HR said, let me call the manager. I'll call you right back. Within 5 minutes, the manager calls her back. You know what? I like your guts. I like the fact that you're advocating for yourself. This is what we look for people in our industry. I think you're going to go well. I'll give you 75. So she got a 20 grand increase.
Oh my goodness.
From just being able to advocate for herself. And she was crying. She's like, oh my God, you were right. I was so scared. I thought I wasn't going to get it. And I was like, and even if you didn't get it, that's not the right company for you. Because they're showing you that they don't value you if they're not giving you more money. If this was a private agency, different if you're working for a nonprofit, they're tighter.
Yeah.
But if you're working for a private agency, they have the money.
They have the money. They can pay. See, guys, this is why I advocate. Like, you go to a career coach like Jaime. He knows the ins and outs. He's been there with the board of directors. He's been there with HR. He knows all these things. He knows all this culture, right? So if you're there, you don't have a career coach, right? You're trying to do this all by yourself, and the people are shortchanging you in this market, like not even looking at your resume. And you could hire a career coach, and change your life forever. Like, you can be stingy on some things. You can be stingy on some things.
It's an investment in your future.
Yeah. And it's so worth it. Like, that guy, that lady got a 20 grand income pay because you told her what? Reject it.
Reject it.
You told her reject it. Negotiate. Like, go back. I know how this works, And she's like, See, you would never, if you didn't have guts and you didn't have a coach telling you, hey, listen to my lead. Listen to what I gotta say. I know this, right? You'd be like, how can they give me 20 grand? They can give you whatever money that you need.
I'm going to say this. It's not, once you say it out loud, people are like, oh, I can do that. This sounds like common sense. But when you're in it, when you're in the thick of it, you don't think very clearly. We get in our own way. And we second guess ourselves, and we have these automatic negative thoughts suppress us and saying like, I don't deserve it. I should take the 55 grand. Like, that's as much as like, I should be grateful for what they're giving me. No.
Exactly.
No.
You get into survival mode.
Exactly.
You get into a survival mode, and then you start shortchanging yourself, and you're not getting as much. And you're wondering, how did other people do it? I was talking to one of my friends, and he was telling me he got into a place in his career where he got stuck. He got stuck, and we all get there. You're climbing, and then you get stuck. And he hired a career coach. And when I was looking for a job, and he was telling me, get a career coach. Girl. And it's like they just know their job. They just know what to do when you're in crisis mode and you can't think for yourself. That's when they baby you, they take you, they look at your resume. I had people look at my resume. It wasn't even ATS. It wasn't even going through ATS. And you're like, why am I not getting a job? Because you need to hire somebody who knows how ATS systems work, all these things, and you're worried. Sometimes you just have to be like, okay, let me get the help that I need.
Mm-hmm. And as simple as formatting to the right words, to being able to put like your accomplishments in there. And what they teach in high school, what they teach in college, unfortunately is a little outdated and no longer applies to the current job market. And it's changing every single day. And with the invention of AI, out the door. Like, all those antiquated things are just super, super not as useful as they used to be. So you have to be able to think on your feet and learn these new practices.
So we're talking about AI here affecting the job market.
Oh yeah.
How is AI affecting a job seeker in a way that this job seeker doesn't know? Like, you're going there, there's this AI thing, and how is it affecting?
Well, first of all, the ATS system is like an algorithmic system that is now being implemented and utilized by AI. So before, it was just like a set of codes that were just like automatically like reject, accept based on the format, based on the right keywords, based on things like that. But now they're advancing those ATS systems by integrating AI. So now they're looking at a little bit more advanced than like the old system. So they're going to be a lot more picky. And the rejections are going to be a lot higher if you're not putting in the right words, the right keywords, the right formatting to be able to do that. And like a lot of people one common mistake, people put their pictures, people put their formattings, people like to put all these columns, but the system won't recognize that because it reads linear, left to right, left to right, left to right, like a paragraph. But when you start doing all these different sections, it will read it like this. So it would be like skills, education, whatever, and it'll read it like that, and they're like, this doesn't make sense, reject,
right? And I used to get like, when I was recruiting, I used to get like resumes, and I'm like, why doesn't it have a number? Why doesn't it have like
an email?
How does this person expect that I would be able to connect to them? But I now guess it's like sometimes because it's not well formatted for ATS, it just kind of like gets rid of some information. It just like by the time your resume goes to the hiring manager, it's not eligible.
Exactly. And then not only that, but people don't double check the work. So there's so many like grammar mistakes, there's so many punctuation mistakes. I've had resumes where I was hiring for people, it didn't even have their name. It didn't. Sometimes I missed the number. Sometimes they didn't have an email, and I was like, "How am I supposed to contact these people?
Yeah.
Like, what the heck?" People would just drop them off, and then I was like, "Okay," or they'll even mail it in, but it wouldn't have any of the initial information I needed, so it went straight to the trash.
Yeah, we are talking about if you need to get a career coach. If you wanna get in touch with Jaime, you can go to his Instagram, right? Rainbow Career Coaching, and you can also email him at jgregoza at rainbowcareercoaching.com. And guys, he is the best in Orange County. I don't know. I mean, if you think about Orange County, for you guys who don't know, there is LA, then there's Orange County. And Orange County is like where business is right now, you know? And if you want to get into this market, you need Jaime. I don't know what else to tell you. I don't know what else to tell you. He needs to be the one looking at your resume and helping you understand how to negotiate with this market. Because there is this Orange County curtain that people don't usually talk about, right? It's like, it's about who you know, and when you come to Orange County, it's kind of like you have to speak the Orange County lingo. You know, you have to break into this market. And when you get the best career coach, you accelerate your chances. You're going to get ahead of 90% of people out there looking for work, right? You're going to cut your time, get to meet the right people, get your resume, you know, into the eyes of the right person. That just skyrockets your career. We are talking about being in a recession right now with white collar jobs. How bad is it?
It's really bad. Like inflation is going up and up and up every year. With the new presidential candidate that's going inside, potential tariffs are going to come in. Things are going to start going up. Groceries, gas, everything's going to go up. The dollar's not going to be as valuable as it is now. So
Yeah.
the time for you to take control of your life and take control of your income is now.
Now, like before everything starts going south. I mean, it's so worrying because when I think about when the tariffs hit, it's like you need to have had a job by then, because once the inflation takes on another, like we are already in full inflation right now.
Yeah.
Like another round of inflation is starvation. You need to have a job that pays you right before.
Yeah.
Before shit hits the fan, basically.
And simple. Like yesterday, I saw this full, like not on Wednesday, on Christmas. I went to, every year we go get like breakfast from this place, and usually for like four of us, it's like $50, $40, right? Not too much. Same meal, didn't change anything. Same place, $120 for the same food.
Oh, really?
And I was just like, what the heck is going on?
Ooh, ooh-wee.
It was a lot.
You know, the other day too, I went to the same shop that I usually buy my avocado cooking oil. I was buying it at $10 a month ago, right? And I ran out of mine, and I'm going there, and it's freaking $19.
Oh wow, that's a
Yeah.
big markup.
I know. I was like that's like half, like minimum wage, like 1 hour of minimum wage,
honestly.
right? Increase. We're talking about the increase
Yeah.
alone, and I'm like, yeah, we imagine, and it's so easy to understand what tariffs are going to do. So imagine if you're going to import things to America and you have to pay more taxes to the US government for importing more goods to America. What are you going to do? You're going to hike up your prices so that you can operate at a profit. So what will happen is if everybody is increasing their prices, everybody has to do that to keep up with the profit. So rent will go up. Stuff starts to keep up with that new cost of goods system, right?
Yeah.
And that's how it goes. You need a job by then. And we are here telling you how to get a job quickly in 2025, so you do not get left behind. And one of the things that you have to do when you get a job in 2025, bear in mind that there is going to be inflation. So you have to negotiate your salary as if you already were hit by double inflation. Just think about, you can't go there just taking the any kind of salary that you get offered right now. I don't even think like anybody, when you have a family, it has to be over 100 grand right now.
120.
120
to live comfortably.
Yeah, to live, for your family to live comfortably. Somebody like me, I can't even go down below 75.
No.
Right? I can't go below 75. We are talking about, like, you think about inflation, how it's going to hit the market, and start negotiating your salary right now. Get in touch with a career coach like Jaime. Let's talk about self-love and how that impacts somebody going to get a job.
Oh, it's a lot. It's really, really big. And you can probably touch into this too, because if you don't love yourself, if you don't have the confidence in yourself, if you don't feel that you're good enough to apply for these jobs, you're not.
You're not going to apply.
And the sad part is that a lot of my clients are women, and women statistically don't negotiate their prices, typically get less pay because people take advantage of them and they give them lesser of a rate base than their male counterparts. And you have to be able to know that you have the self-worth, that you are worthy of a competitive salary like the male counterparts, and sometimes even more.
Yeah.
Women nowadays do, this is my own personal bias, and I hope I don't get canceled, but like women do better job than men. Like,
Isn't that the truth? I am so happy that you said it, because if a woman says it, then it's like, she's just being catty and whatever. But I have seen like women, they stay longer at work, they take their work at home, they do all these things. I used to work with a guy, he wasn't ever late, right? He would be there on time. But let me tell you, 5 on the dot, he's out.
Yeah.
He's out the door. And our manager, she was female, she would work all this, she's having a hard time getting even her kids' attention and all that. But trust me, they always promote the guy. I'm like, how is this happening? Like, can they see everything, all the sacrifices she's making?
And just people are uncomfortable with change. They get so used to promoting males, and they tend to like idolize them, but it doesn't mean anything. Like the people that have been most influential in my life, that have helped me get to where I'm at, were women leaders.
Yeah. And it's like when I was like recruiting, I had women. Yeah, it was really the same thing I was saying. Women don't negotiate. I mean, I had some women negotiate. They were like, I'm not gonna get anything below 75 ever. And even when she's saying that, I'm like, you could deserve more.
Oh, yeah.
Like your qualifications, you could ask for more. But like they never ask, right? They never ask. But like when I was leaving my job, I gave everybody a promotion because I was like, all my staff, like I had the power to do so. So I give them all a promotion and I left. I was like, screw the company. They can pay these guys more.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah. Wow. Guys, let me look at some of your comments from here. The MSW coach just joined. Welcome, lovely.
Hey, Marthia.
Emerge with Angela just joined. Welcome.
Hey, Angela.
Taros Forever just joined. Welcome to Rainbow Coaching. And this is wonderful. I love that you guys are here. And happy holidays from Rick. And if Football Spot says hi. Topa Dancer coming from Portuguese. Hello there. Yeah, hello there. Guys, it's wonderful to see you guys live. We are talking about how you can get ahead in 2025. Before the shit hits the fan, and there is inflation and people cannot afford their lives again. Because trust me, once the tariffs hit, there's going to be inflation. We want you to have a job by then. When you go to a job, sometimes I get sweaty palms.
Oh yeah, that's common.
I get sweaty palms because I'm like, I'm going to meet these people. It's an interview. I don't know whether I can get the job. Let me tell you a secret, and it's a secret for all you guys. I don't say this. When I had kind of finished college, and I had to go get a job, I was so nervous. So I used to smoke some weed.
Just to get you by.
Yeah, I used to get some weed when I have an interview to just calm down, all right? So that I can go. You remember how like before people used to smoke and they used to get confidence, like whatever. So I don't know. It just made me like chill so that I'm more friendly. I don't advocate that you do this. I don't advocate that you do this. But there is, your nerves do get,
They get the best of you sometimes.
they get the best of you. You're going to meet people. You've never met these people before. How do you take care of the stress of, I'm going to meet people? Like for me, it's like, what do I do with my sweaty palms? Because they do get sweaty and cold.
Yeah, so this is what I recommend. Always arrive at least 15 minutes early to the interview, but don't go inside. Stay in your car. And then when you're in your car, try to do some meditation, try to do some breathing work, do some laughter yoga, do whatever you need to do to be able to ground yourself in that moment and get you in that moment of excitement, of thrill, and less on the nerves. And you need to kind of like, if you can, have a journal or do a voice memo or whatever and let everything out. All of these insecurities, all of these negative thoughts, write them down during that time and ask yourself, are these worries and concerns real? Or am I inflating them because I'm nervous right now?
Yeah.
Why am I feeling like this? Like, yes, I may need the job. Yes, I might really, really want this position. I'm excited. Doesn't mean you need to be desperate about it.
Yeah.
Because that will show through the interview.
Yeah. Yeah. So meditating, I like that you say breathing. I think breathing and meditation is really powerful when you get there. When you get there first, when you get there like 15 minutes before, now you have found parking. You're not worried about being late, and you have your resume, you have everything, and then you can sit there and have those affirmations, that I am successful. My success is imminent. And then you're doing this breathing meditation, and you're like, whether or not I get this job, I'm still going to be successful
Exactly.
in life, right?
The result of this interview does not define my worth.
Right. Yeah, the results. And it's just one interview that leads me to get better and better and better and better. Right. And affirming yourself and breathing and relaxing. Actually, like you can get like 5-minute meditations on YouTube.
Oh, yeah.
That can help you relax and ground yourself. And if you're there 15 minutes, it means that you have like a good 10 minutes or 7 minutes to do a relaxing meditation. And that takes your nerves down, like, and then you're able to go there and more confidence, because I think it's the anxiety that makes us look like we are not confident.
Exactly. And if you're like me and you have ADHD and you just lack time, you have time blindness, and you're running going to be there right on time, then do it during your drive. Do it as you're driving, just like breathe in, do like a simple box breathing where you breathe in for 2 seconds, out for 2 seconds, in for 2 seconds, out for 2 seconds. And then just do that over and over again. Just relax yourself. If you're into laughter yoga, just laugh it out. Just laugh the whole way there. Release all that tension out.
Yeah, so that's something nice you said. You said one of your catchphrases is like you're a laughter yoga teacher. That's a good time. Tell us about that laughter yoga teacher, because I love that. I really love that.
Yeah, so laughter yoga it was invented in India in the 1990s by Dr. Madan Kataria. It's been around for a while. It's spread in over 120 countries worldwide. There's over like thousands and thousands of laughter clubs. And essentially, it's a simple concept where it incorporates yogic breathing exercises with natural laughter exercises where you're not telling jokes, you're not forcing things. It's just natural laughter, doing playful activities to heal that inner child and just get you to naturally laugh, increase the endorphins, increase the good feelings inside, and decrease stress hormones.
Wow. So if I was like going for an interview and I'm here and I have 5 minutes, How could I do that? Can you coach me how to do it?
Yeah, so there's a simple one that I like to do actually whenever I'm going into for a speaking gig. I actually did this in my car right before I came here for this live. So
Awesome.
it's called the counting laughter. Typically you do to 10. If you don't have enough, then you can do 5. So for this one, we'll just do 5.
Okay.
So you start with one laugh and you keep adding a laugh until you hit 5. So
Okay.
let's just do one. So ha,
Ha,
ha, ha,
ha, ha,
ha, ha, ha, ha.
ha, 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 ha.
Very simple, very simple.
Oh,
And-
goodness.
and you can tell you start laughing. You start feeling different, and the more you do it, the more nervous you are. I would say do the 10, and it's really hard not to just like start giggling and laughing.
Yeah.
As soon as you hit 10, and it may feel weird. You may feel awkward, but I guarantee you, your worries start melting away.
Okay, so I'm going to do ha, 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 ha. I mean, if you keep adding it, it's like, that's a very beautiful way to train the mind.
Oh yeah.
That is, I never knew about that laughter yoga. I'm glad that you even have it on your business card, because that is, you could be waiting there and you're like, kind of like a villain. Yes, you're like tired and like jittery about the interview and just like, ha. you know,
Exactly.
Oh wow. And I like laughter because laughter is like singing. It opens up your lungs. You
got a
know?
lot of breathing in there.
Yeah, and then it opens up your heart too. So people wouldn't even know what hit them, because you walk into that interview, you have this great aura and energy about you because you've been doing this laughter meditation in private. They don't know like how you come with that energy, right? And it's at the end of the day, people are looking for people they like.
Yeah.
Right? And we can use even our appearances, like laughing. Like when you laugh, you relax your muscles in your body, so you appear more friendly and welcoming to people. When you smile, it's the same thing. Like people think you're more friendly than, when you walk up with a like a beach resting face, right? It's like all those things when you're very open body language. You say hi, you're confident, you're shaking somebody's hand, and you sit down, kind of, portraying that kind of like friendliness, calmness. You're able to ask them questions. They will not know what hit them. Just listen to Dr. Jaime. Just listen to Dr. Jaime. They will not know what hit them when they go to the job. So we have done our laughter meditation, right? And we have made our resume ATS friendly. We have done all this groundwork. We hired Jaime. He told us, he looked at our resume. He gave us the questions to ask in an interview. I mean, I'm thinking like, what could go wrong at this point?
It's very competitive, so there's going to be other people that are also doing the same thing. So there's a few more things I would recommend that you do to kind of give you a little bit more of a edge for you to get a job. So one thing that a lot of people don't fail to do is go talk to the receptionist. Go talk to the person that is greeting you and is in the waiting room with you. These people have a lot of influence over the hiring process. A lot of times the hiring manager will ask the receptionist, what did you think about the candidates? Did anybody stand out? Who was the most polite to you? Who was the one that actually seemed personable? So try to engage a conversation with them. And then even if they don't ask the receptionist, there's a lot of intel that they can give you. Being like, oh, is there a lot of applicants today? Like, how long has the job been? Like, how long have you been here? Do you like working here? And it's kind of like an impromptu interview for them where you can kind of like get a lot of the information that you need outside of the interview. And it's coming from someone who's not biased, is not making the hiring decision, and is going to be willing to tell you. Like, I've gone into job interviews where I've talked to the receptionist and they're like, this is a really bad place to work. If I were you, like, I was like, you would be the third person that we hire in the past 6 months. This job is horrible. So then from the get-go, I was like, you know what? I'm not even going to entertain this. I'm just going to leave because it's just like it's a horrible place to work. And I would have never known that if I didn't talk to the receptionist. And then during the interview, they were saying like everybody loves you here. We're family. Everybody gets along. So it was like very different responses. I was like, you're lying. She's obviously like being truthful. This is not right. And then I've been in like my second job ever. I was a case manager in LA for homeless services. And the reason I got the job was because I was so friendly with the receptionist. The CEO talked to the receptionist and they're like, who do you like out of every, we have a very competitive like selection of applicants. Who do you like the most? So I was like, I liked Jaime because he actually took the time to get to know me, ask me questions, and he just seems like people will like to work with him.
Wow. I mean, I would do the exact same thing. We are talking about like I'm hiring people to be personable with the homeless, and somebody who can bridge that gap of communication, because like I guess like homeless people might be scared about talking to anybody about their private issues, how they got there, and you're there being that open-minded, open to communication, starting the communication, like, and that's like that is a skill like a lot of people don't have. It's like it's your job to be there and extend your hand first out and say, nice to meet you, hi, my name is Kanini. It's my job to be like that to people. Open body language, like walk there, even if it's an interview, smile, be the first one to take my hand out, shake their hand firmly, and ask, introduce myself and ask them, how are you? Right?
Exactly.
And people will be like, most people don't want to do that. So when you do that, you portray confidence, right? And that's how you stand out from the competition. Like, you have to remember it's a game. It's really a game. And you want to be here on that game.
You want to be playing chess, not checkers. Everybody else is playing checkers. You have to play a game of chess. Yeah.
So from even the way you're dressed, the way you talk to people, the way you approach them, like this has to be like top game, Nobody needs to know that you're broke and you need this job desperately.
And you can get very good clothing. Like my first job, I didn't have clothes to like professional clothing.
Yeah.
I literally went to the Goodwill and got myself a suit, and it was like under $30.
I did that with my job too. I went to this helping women place, and they were showing us how to interview and everything, and they had like clothes, like, and they were really good clothes. And I was like, wait. Yeah. Professional, like you have to play the game. Like I come from even a financial background, right? And a lot of financial advisors dress to the nines.
Oh yeah.
They dress to the nines. Like no way that person would have the same bank account as you when you're thinking about it. It's like he has to be like a billionaire somehow. He's dressing like he's Trump. And you gotta play that game. You sometimes you just gotta play the game and be like, I'm going for a job interview and I have to look sharp. Like I'm here, like somebody they can depend on. Somebody like look professional. I went to a place where like this girl, she was wearing very tight dressing, and she constantly had to do this to her, kind of like the way I'm doing right now. But I'm like, in a job interview, you don't want to be doing this and this because it's too tight or too short.
And it's distracting, yeah.
It's very distracting. And they're like, will we have to endure this every meeting with you?
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. So, wow. So, we go to the interview, we are personable. We've done everything, like, and we think, okay, fine. Now it's that we've listened to them, we've asked questions, we've been friendly, we've dressed appropriately. So when we go back home, now what?
So the first thing to do is, one thing you have to remember is that they're interviewing multiple people. It could be 5, it can be 10, it can be 20. It's a lot of people. So it's really easy for them to forget who you are. And if you weren't the first, or if you weren't the last person that they interviewed, chances are you're going to blend in the middle and they're going to forget. Because memory we always remember the first interaction and we always remember the last interaction. And it's not fair because you can't choose when you're going to be interviewed. But what you can do is you can make yourself memorable by sending a thank you letter, acknowledging or clarifying anything that you felt didn't really get said. Or maybe when you got home, you're like, oh, I wish I would have said this.
Or asked this.
Or asked this, exactly. So
Yeah.
send an email, give a phone call, and just like in a couple days later, like I definitely that same day or the next business day, send an email saying like, hey, I just want to say really thank you for the opportunity. I really enjoyed that. Getting to know your agency and getting to know you. I'm very excited for the opportunity to work here. However, I did want to clarify on some answers that I said that I felt like I would like to elaborate more. Here's what I wanted to add to this question, and then also here's some questions that came up after, and I would love to hear your feedback.
Yeah.
That way you will stay on top of mind,
Yeah.
and even if they have forgotten about you, you're like, you know what, this person has what it takes because they're following up. They really want the position. You're advocating for yourself.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, to stay on top of people's mind, you have to remind them who you
Yeah.
are. It's just that it's just that sometimes people be like, I won't get the job anyway. You start judging, negative thinking, where they're like, oh, I saw how they were interacting with me. I don't see, how they can call me back. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Just follow up anyway, because like habits are what get us to the top. It's habits. If you're used to, even if you are doing your own job, right? Like starting your own business, it's the habits of following up with people, kind of keeping in constant contact with them that make you memorable. And at the end of the day, it's a numbers game. It's a numbers game. So the more people who are recalling you, the higher the chances of one of them will be like, okay, I'll give them the job. Because you're thinking about it in terms of numbers. Like how many people are thinking about me?
Exactly. And I wouldn't say it has to be a fine balance between this person really advocating for themselves or this person's desperate. And that usually it's a very fine line. So you have to go within first a day after, then a week after, and then bi-weekly, and then just kind of go from there. But always don't leave the phone or do not leave the conversation without getting, when can I expect to hear from you? And then after that deadline passes, remind them again. So that way you're at least being respectful of their time, you're being courteous, you're not overbearing.
Yeah.
But at least you're saying like, I value communication and this is important to me, so I want to hear from you.
Yeah, I think that's what you said is very important for people to. You want to know when you can expect to hear from them and when they are going to make the decision. Like, so if they say, I'm thinking about in a month's time that I get this position filled, you can admit that maybe you can expect that maybe in a month and a half, maybe they've already decided the person that they have. So you know when they are expecting and when you can hear from them. And so when you're following up, it's like you have your own window. Like this job, I'm going to follow it up for another month. This one, it's strategic. You're not just waiting there and figuring out, yeah. So sometimes they will select somebody else, right? And they will not tell you why, what was wrong with your resume or your candidacy. I mean, what can a job applicant do when they don't get accepted, but they don't know why?
I would not take no for as an answer. And just, if you get the rejection letter, call the hiring manager, call the HR partner, whoever it is, and say, can I have a 5-minute phone call with you?
Yeah.
Just because I love to grow as a person and I want some feedback so that I can
Get a job quickly.
get a job better and do a better job next time.
Yeah.
Or if there's another opening in the agency, I can be better prepared to be the better candidate for next time.
Yeah. You want to know why your interviews are not going through. Because you could be doing everything that we are telling you, and then there is one thing that we are not aware of that you're doing over and over, and it's kind of like getting rejected. You're getting rejected. And it's an art. To get a job is an art. You kind of have to know the culture of the company, the place that you're interviewing. I came from from Africa, and I was here, and one of the things that kept holding me back is like I was so scared because I was like, I really don't know the American working culture, and I was like, anything that I do, I might not get the job. So I was really scared. But then I realized like they're professionals. They just want somebody who's reliable, on time, professional, dependable, can do the job. But you have to figure out why. Maybe it's experience, and if it's experience, it has to be with the resume and the way that you're answering the questions or presenting yourself, because guess what, anybody can learn on the job.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Anybody can learn on the job. So experience shouldn't be the thing. It means that we probably need to fluff up your resume, make it look more, more professional, or maybe it's the way you're dressing. You really have to know. But the only way you know is if you ask for feedback.
And then just know that your experiences from 10 years ago, 5 years ago, even 3 years ago are not going to be the same ones you have now, because the people that are doing the hiring now are millennials, are Gen Z, who are in leadership positions now. And the boomers are exiting the job force, and Gen X are now in C-suite levels. So they are more open to giving you this feedback. They're more open to hiring people based on their personalities and less on the actual talent that you have or the experience you have. Because like you said, anything you can learn can be learned on the job. The only thing, of course, that you can't get away with is education. So if they're asking for a certain education, then that's something you have to meet the requirement or certificate program. But you don't need the 7 years of experience to get these. And then some of these, what I tell my clients is that job descriptions are an employer's wish list. It's not a set in stone, you need to meet every single requirement. If you meet at least 50% of the job description, apply.
Apply, yeah.
Because chances are you're probably going to get the interview, and sometimes you'll even get it. A lot of people, there's this saying that I learned, you need to act like a middle-aged white man and have the audacity to just apply to things, and then just say, hey, I'm going to do it. Because a lot of statistics show that a lot of white men apply for jobs that they're not qualified for, yet they get the position. And I can attest to this because I've gotten rejected from jobs from people who are not qualified to be in that position, and I'm teaching them on how to do my job, on how to do their job.
I know, right? And that's have the audacity. I read that most women will not apply for jobs even when they have 50% done, because they think that they have to have 100%. Like most employers, and I've seen this, most job descriptions are not even written by the employer.
No.
They just get a generic job description, and they're like, yeah, this is kind of what maybe we need, and they blast it and they put it on LinkedIn, they put it everywhere, and you're looking at all this and you're like, it sounds like a red, it just sounds, even the way it's written, you can tell a human being did not write this thing. No. The heart and soul is not on that job description. And I did this as a recruiter. They had us give us these generic job descriptions that were written by corporate. And they were asking me to use these job descriptions to get candidates. And I realized candidates don't want to read these job descriptions. First of all, they're boring, they're tedious. Who wants to do this? And I realized I could write 3 things that I need from the job. I want you to have high school education, to be coachable and stuff like that. And I would have a lot of people apply. Then I could look at the people who applied for jobs, because most people don't want to read all these boring things.
Yeah.
Those boring things were not written by a human. They probably come from corporate somewhere. So just apply the job. Just go. And a lot of job applications, they have 2 buttons or 2-3 things that you need. Just go hit application, apply. Just apply.
Yeah, and it's a numbers game. I tell people, if you really want to get a job in 2 weeks, or if you want to get a job within a month, you need to go aggressive. You can't just be getting away with, I'm going to apply to 1 to 2 jobs a week. No. When I was laid off from one of my jobs back in 2015, I was unemployed for about a month,
Okay.
and I applied to a total of 700 jobs in that 1 month.
700 in a month.
Out of those 700 jobs, I got roughly, I want to say 10 interviews.
Wow.
And out of those 10 interviews, I got 3 like offers
3 offers.
out of 700 jobs.
Whoa.
And that's because
whoa.
you have to put yourself out there. And one thing you have to remember, all the jobs out there sometimes are not updated. They already hired and they just kept the job posting up there. 2, they're hiring, but not until sometimes they do it preemptively, like, oh, we're hiring, but the job won't start until 6 months from now. And then you're like, well, I need a job now.
Bills
You know?
bills need to pay now.
And then sometimes I did get callbacks, but then I interviewed them on the phone and I didn't like them, so I rejected them. So I was like, I'm not going to go in an in-person interview and waste my time when I already know that you're not a right fit for me. So it's just like there's a lot of screening that has to happen on both ends and to find out this is a right fit. But I was aggressively applying to 30 to 50 jobs every single day.
See, that is like insane. And a lot of people get rejected and they start feeling bad because they don't have that perspective. Like if you want a job in 1 month, be ready to apply to 1,000 jobs. 1,000 jobs, so at least you can get yourself 5 interviews because the ratio is so low, and be open to that. Like getting a job is a job on its own. Man, how long? I mean, you must have been sitting on the just doing that. Like my back aches. I need to stretch.
And this is before AI. This is before any of that stuff. So now it's even easier to apply. But back then, I was literally sitting down 4 hours at a coffee shop every single day and just applying for 4 hours straight.
You gotta be aggressive. This is 2025. Some people will be homeless if they don't get a job, and I hope it's not you. So you gotta do what you gotta do. If it's 700 jobs that you need to apply in that 1 month, apply that. Apply that so that you can get the job faster and quicker. Because, I mean, I would like to tell you that, you can apply to this job and somehow by magic you get called. But we are in the job market where it's like, I know some people who've been searching a job for a whole year.
Yeah, I know people like that too. And the thing is that I wish I had me back in 2015, because if I would have known the things I know now, I wouldn't have had to apply to 700 jobs. I think applying for like a good 50, 60, 70 jobs would have been enough, and I would have probably had the same results, if not better, because now I know about networking, now I know about outreach, now I know about, certain tactics that you can go out and be more memorable and get a chance to actually get a call. Like nowadays, I don't even have to apply. Like, not that I'm looking for a job. I have my own business now.
Yeah.
But I get job offers like once a week. People are reaching out to me because I'm constantly putting myself out there talking to people, and I'm like, hey, I want to, this is what I do. This is the things. Let's collaborate. They're like, why don't you work for me? And I'm just no. But the same thing can happen to you. By reaching out to people, trying to get to know them, I tell all of my clients, one of the fundamental pillars of being able to work with me is you have to be willing to talk to strangers. You have to be willing to go and talk to the companies you want to work for. I say, pick 5 jobs. These are the dream companies that I really, really want to work for. Reach out to them. Reach out to their employees on LinkedIn. Like randomly send messages and saying, hey, can I take you out on coffee? Can I do a virtual coffee chat? Can I get to talk, just pick your brain, because this is an agency I would love to one day be in, and I would love to learn more about the culture, more about you. And people love talking about themselves. If you tell them you're the expert, I adore you, I want to learn from you, they're gonna say yeah, sure. And then you would never imagine people will be like, out of everybody in the company, you chose me. They don't need to know you message everybody, but they're like, sure, let's do it. And then once you're talking to them, they're like, wow, I learned so much from you. Is there anybody you think you can connect me to that can potentially help me get to where I want to go? And then they'll be like, you know what, you should talk to my boss. Or, hey, you should talk to this person. You should talk to this person. We're not hiring, but our competitor is.
Yeah.
And then from there, that's how you utilize your network to get a job a lot faster, more efficiently. And if a person's referring you to the job, the likelihood of you getting it is higher.
Yeah. I mean, I can agree with you more. Like your network is your net worth, and you're telling somebody, if you really want a job by 2025, before even the first quarter ends, you must become a master networker. You really must master networking. And networking is pretty much talking to strangers. You must be able to talk to strangers. Introduce yourself virtually. And I like that virtual. I never thought about virtual coffee, you know?
It's cheaper.
It's cheaper. Right. Virtual coffee. And then you have to scintillate people. You scintillate them. Like, you're the expert. I have some questions that I would like to ask you, you know, or there are things that I would want us to talk about. I mean, who's gonna say no?
I know. And if they say no, cool. Brush it off and on to the next person.
It's a numbers game. I think one of the first lessons that you learn in business is like it's a numbers game.
You're gonna get 20 no's for every one yes.
Yeah, and it's okay. The no, it just makes you, you know, sharpens the tool.
And then learn from that no. Maybe I need to recustomize my message. Maybe I went too aggressively. Maybe, you know, I didn't reach to the right person, you know? Like, so learn from each no. Like, how can you adapt so the next one can be a stronger yes?
Yeah, yeah. And like when you go, I always think that the best people that I like to talk to is the ones that are like, Monica, you're the coach. That's that. I mean, and when you go with that mentality, if I feel good that happening to me, definitely it will work when I use it on somebody else, right?
Exactly.
It's like, it just works. So we are talking about mastering networking. So these are like some of the things that, like strategies, you say like, you don't have to apply to 700 jobs. If you're really good at networking, you can really cut your time.
Oh, yeah.
What's another strategy that people are not using? Like networking is a good one.
Oh, yeah. Networking is a good one. Like I said, following up with people after, not waiting until after the interview to get your feedback, get it during the interview. So one of the things that I always end every single interview back in the day was 2 questions. Can you please describe your ideal candidate for this position? Like, if you can pick the perfect person, what do they look like? What do they talk like? How do they present themselves? What is their education? What is like their skill set? And then like, how is that person going to fit in well with this company? And then you're putting it on them, right? So they're giving you all of the necessary details. What you need to do is cling onto every single thing that they said that matches your personality, your being, and be like, oh, perfect. I actually meet that. That reminds me that's kind of like what I do. Kind of like letting them know you just defined what you're looking for. And I meet that mold.
You position yourself you match, you pair,
exactly.
You pair yourself.
And then you make them, and then even by doing that, a lot of the times they make the connections themselves.
Yeah.
Because I told them like, so what is the ideal candidate? Well, we're looking someone who's responsible, is on time. Well, kind of like you know, somebody who has like your type of experience, and they are saying it out loud, which means that they're more likely to remember you because you're leaving an impression because they said it. One thing is for you,
yeah,
to tell them, but when they speak it out loud,
yeah,
their brain processes it and they believe it.
Yeah.
So, and it's more impressionable. So the next question and the last, which is more important than the first one, is thank you for your feedback. Now my next question is, what are some things that I've said or done or the experience that I'm lacking to meet the ideal candidate?
Oh wow! Let me write that down.
And how can I work? Like, what is something that you recommend I do within the next 3 to 6 months so that I can become that ideal candidate?
You know, that is a powerful. Yeah. What is something that you think I'm lacking? You know, I'm lacking to become the ideal candidate. The thing is, this is the master question for people who think that, oh, I didn't get the reason why. Like if you get rejected, you will know why they rejected you, but you will have gotten that answer before you walked out of that interview, and yeah, and they might tell you, you know, I think you're an ideal candidate, but maybe we need like this number of experience or somebody who can do this and that. And then you can go out and think about, maybe I didn't put it on my resume, or maybe I need to portray myself like that candidate on my next interview. And that just sharpens the tool.
Mm-hmm. And then you get the feedback right away so you can go for it. And even though that might not have worked, and that usually what happens. They're like, well, that like any insecurities or any doubts that you have, they will tell you right then and there. And from there, you can either clarify, you can tell them, like, reassure them that you are the right candidate and that was just like a misunderstanding.
Yeah.
Or maybe you are lacking that information. Like, I've gotten the feedback of, like, we're actually looking for a doctor level like individual. Back then I didn't have a doctorate degree, and I was like, okay, well, that's good to know. So if like I want this kind of position, I probably need a doctorate degree.
Yeah.
Or like, we wanted at least like 3 years of experience. You only have 1 year of experience. I think if you would apply 2 years from now, you would have been perfect. But we've had other candidates that we've had, a little bit more experience. So I think like just keep grinding and doing it. So they're already telling me softly, we're not going to pick you, but this is what you need.
Yeah.
And from there, at least I learned what I needed. And then I was like, okay, cool. This is kind of like what I can use next time. Or how can I, like you said, reinvent my resume or be creative thinking on how I can use the skills I do have to fit the 3 years of experience that they're looking for.
Yeah, yeah, and wow. See, I think this is why people should have a career coach. Guys, if you don't have a career coach and you're struggling about the job market, just know somebody who has a career coach and you coming here and you don't have, they are 90% more likely to get a job than you. So do you want to be that candidate that has the 90% chance to get the job? I mean, and that just comes back to, do you love yourself? In this job economy, do you love yourself? Get yourself a career coach. Get ahead of the game, because this economy, I'm not very optimistic about how things are going to go. And I think at some point, some people will just find themselves in a bind. And it will be serious. But we are here to help you get out of that as quickly as possible. Again, if you're looking for a career coach, go to rainbowcareercoaching.com. You can also email Jaime at jgraygoza@rainbowcareercoaching.com. And then you can go to Instagram at rainbowcareercoaching.com, friend him and connect with him. And then, you can start your journey. In 2025, you want to get that job. And I could not pick a better coach to guide you through this journey than Dr. Jaime. So, are we missing something? You're the coach. Like, I think we have given them like a lot of information, but maybe there's something that we have missed. We've talked about feedback, like getting feedback right there and then, networking. How about things like Instagram? I mean, we are talking about Instagram right now, connecting with with the right coach first, so that you can get ahead of the game. That's where it's at right now. That's where it's at right now, because of all the things that are changing the job market, like AI. Is your resume okay? Your brand on the internet, like all these things have to be looked at. And this just says, get a professional. You can't, I think we've passed that point where you kind of just wing it.
Yeah. There's only a certain level where you can kind of wing it the rest of your life. After a certain level, you reach that plateau where you've learned everything you need and you just need outside help. And it's like, I have my own coach. I have my coaches that I have, and they're helping me with my business. They help me with my personal life.
Yeah.
And you have to be able to be willing to be coached. And I think if anything, just so we can close out today, would be that you need someone to help you. Like, it's good to have all these tools and have a career coach, and good. But getting a new job is not going to fix the resentment. It's not going to fix the lack of motivation, the lack of the burnout, the stress that you're having. You need people like Monica. You need people like that do stretch coaching, that do self-love coaching, that do like fulfillment coaching, to be able to really fix the problem at the root. Okay, you have a new job, you have a fresh start, you have the income that you want. Now that you have kind of like in the high Maslow's hierarchy of needs, you meet the foundational. Now you get to go to the self-realization of really taking control of your life, and feeling fulfilled, and really starting to love yourself, setting those boundaries like at a deeper level, so that you can truly be happy and enjoy the life you have.
Isn't that something when you decide, like, hey, I hired Jaime, I have a job now, I have my dream job, right? And now you start working this dream job that you've been you've been dreaming of, and everything happens, and then all of a sudden you realize your priorities have changed, but you're not prepared for the change of priorities because your body tells you there is a disconnect. You're making a lot of money and maybe your self-worth is still very low. It's not matching to this new job, and something has to give in because you cannot live in that reality where there's dissonance, right? Like your personal self-worth and self-esteem has to match this new position that you have, or otherwise everything will crumble back and you're going to go back to the level which you feel worthy of.
Exactly. Exactly.
Works every time. Like, I think those are like spiritual laws or laws of nature that unless you have a coach and somebody to help you through that internal journey, so that you can meet where you truly are, people end up losing it all.
Yeah, because like we self-destruct all the time, and we tend to shoot ourselves in the foot because if you feel you're not worthy of this job with this money, you're gonna have the imposter syndrome kick in and say, I'm not good enough, I'm not good enough, and then self-fulfilling bias happens where your actions align with your thoughts of yourself and you start doing things that are not good enough. And you cause yourself to get written up, you cause yourself to not get motivated, and then you basically say, it's the job's fault, it's not my fault,
Yes.
Then you hire me again saying like, hey, I need another job, and I'm like, wait a minute. And this is why like I don't just do career coaching, I also do stress management and mental health coaching, because I want to fix the burnout and I want people to have the realization that you are as much part of the problem as the employer. Your lack of boundaries, your lack of self-love, your lack of confidence plays into that.
Yes, it's like nobody can fix your lack of confidence. Let's say that you're doing a good job and you have employees who are your colleagues who are suddenly jealous of you, right? And if you still don't feel worthy, you are still going to lose that job because jealous people have a part. Haters have a part in your life. But if your number one hater is yourself,
Yeah. No, we can't have that.
we can't have that.
There's so much hate in life right now. We can't be having it in our home.
Yeah. Yeah. You have to be your number one advocate. You truly, to succeed, you have to love yourself, because what are you gonna do when the haters come? When you don't love yourself, when they start, being jealous of you, like what are you going to do? And they can be jealous of you. It's not just at home. It's even your relationships. It's not just at work. Somebody can be jealous because you have a good spouse, and they start making you feel like you're not even worthy of them. And then what are you gonna do? Take a hike? Like what?
No. You have to focus. You have to do that inner work.
You gotta do that inner work. I used to think when I came here and in the US, and people were like, I have a mentor, I have a coach, I have this, blah blah blah, and I used to think Americans are so into themselves. They gotta have a coach, they gotta have a mentor, like all this. Like I just felt like they are just like these words, like, oh, I have a mentor, I have a coach, kind of like, oh goodness, give me a break already. I didn't know. You don't know what you don't know. You don't know what you don't know until you get to a certain point and you're like, I'm truly stuck and I don't know how to get unstuck myself, right? And you're like, what is going on? I watch myself get burned out to the point where I'm like, I don't even know how to explain to somebody because I don't know. I actually didn't know it was burnout. I just thought it was, you're so stressed and you just losing your mind. I just knew I was losing my mind somehow. And honestly, I wish at that point I had understood the importance of mentorship and coaching, because things didn't have to go the way they ended up going. But that's why I feel like I have to warn people, like, hey, you need a mentor, you need a coach. And we're not just saying this is because you can build, and then it can crash.
Yeah.
And you're like, I am 40. I cannot imagine life crashing again and then having to start over again. Like, people do this. They go up, down, up, down, up, down. And like, you didn't have to go like that. You could have gone like this if you had a mentor.
Yep. And it's okay. We can't do everything ourselves. We only know what we know, and we don't know what we don't know. And sometimes we need people to help us and guide us through the way, and then kind of give us an outside perspective, get us out of our head.
Yeah. Yep. So, I mean, I thank you everybody who tuned in to our live. I think we can probably do this another time.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, because getting a job, I feel like getting a job is one of those important life moments, and your brain has to be trained and reminded over and over. Like, it is possible to get a job in this economy. It is possible for you to be in the 90% of the people who outshine other people and get the job. It is possible, but you need to be directed into how to go about this process, and that's what we were doing today. So again, if you want to go to Rainbow, if you need a coach, I'm giving you the best, Dr. Jaime Gregoza, and his email is jgregoza at rainbowcareercoaching.com. You can go to Instagram at rainbowcareercoaching.com. And yeah, if you have any questions, shoot him an email, send him an Instagram message, and everything will go fine. You'll get the job that you want. So let me see if we have any questions here. Please compare your hands. Beautiful. Yeah, so Eric, thanks so much for tuning in. We are so happy to see you again. Today we were talking about career coaching. I hope you guys got everything. Rick says happy holidays. Happy holidays to you, Rick. And then we have eFootball Sports says hi. And here at Jaime's Instagram, we have Wellis Mo, coach. He joined. We have Indian Traveler 31 joined and said hi. We have GMAC 534 joined and said hi. We have Fire OB 1369 joined. We are so happy to see you guys live. We had a wonderful time. And keep we'll probably tell them what other time that we're going to do another live show. But if you really need help getting a job 2025, we are here for you. Everything that you need. So until next time, God bless and stay safe and get yourself that job.
Yep, and Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Okay. Ending live cast.